Alright, we're just gonna hop right into the game screen because Solar vs. ByuN happened very quickly, and it is note Solar vs. ByuN, so I guess the TVZ in the other side of the bracket is gonna have to wait a bit longer. Womp womp. But yeah, Apotheosis will be the first map, and here we are in the bottom right as the blue Terran. He is ByuN.
And in the top left, we have the red Zerg player. Give it up for Solar.
Yep.
I want to give a quick reminder to everyone, of course, if you do enjoy the Olimoleague and you want to see more of it, if you want to show a bit of support, if you enjoy any of the players playing, do be sure to check out the Patreon page.
Hello?
And you can contribute any amount that you want. Did you get a bit of a lag spike?
Yeah.
Huh?
You cut out.
Yes, I saw that too. Oh, maybe that was just my internet then.
Yeah, I don't know, but you were like, check out the Patreon. It's really awesome. You even shouted it.
Maybe I was just contemplating how awesome the Patreon was.
Yeah, but that's patreon.com/Olimoleague. Just to be clear, despite that lag spike. But yeah, there's a lot of cool rewards and tiers, so it's not just about, you know, the good old, like, supporting StarCraft reasoning, but there's also some stuff that you can get for it. So, for instance, replay packs, which we sent out for the Corsair Cups yesterday, can't do it for the Olimoleague because that is part of the reward tiers, getting some really awesome Korean replays, like this one that you probably, honestly, will be the best one to get, because if you're like, watching that last TVZ, and you're like, damn, that's what my TVZs look like, I just get absolutely rolled by Zergs no matter what, this guy's probably going to teach you how not to be rolled by Zergs. So it'd be a good one to get.
ByuN's pretty decent at this game.
Yeah, I guess. You know, he's alright.
His APM is pretty low, though. I mean, what is that, like 150 to 200? Okay, there. Now he's getting up to like 350.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I saw Poke Bunny, who's like a North American Terran player that you and I know. For those who don't know, he's like a pretty decent player for like a North American player, and he was tweeting about how he's like, yeah, I hit the 300 APM club for the first game that I had an average APM of 300. I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Average, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think anyone can
ByuN's
spike.
apparently lower than that right now. If you look at his APM,
Yeah.
he's only 279. What a scrub.
Well, if you guys don't know about ByuN yet, I feel like everyone does know ByuN and his whole history, but he does have some wrist, neck, everything issues, like health issues in general, I think. So I think he's gonna be quite, you know, paranoid and careful about using it only when he needs to. Or some of the people really do spam in the beginning. They'll have the higher APM in the beginning than they do like later on in the game because they're just spamming their hotkeys. But ByuN's all about that efficient APM. All right, that's what you tell everyone when you have like 50 APM. You're like, well, it's efficient, so get wrecked.
Well, there's EAPM in the game, right? So
No one looks at that because I feel like the metric for APM is
his EAPM is actually lower than Solar's. It's only 114 versus Solar's 139.
No one cares about that number. It's all about watching what ByuN is doing.
Yeah.
Get over yourself,
And
Dragon.
that is the impressive thing about ByuN's play. Is like you just need to watch it and see how well he dismantles Zerg players.
Yeah. It will be like a really nice little like setup, you know, you watch the VOD here on YouTube or something like that, and then you go back and watch the game versus natural, and you're gonna, I think, see a lot of differences in control. First of all, natural, I think, mess up his control more than I've ever seen him before last series, which is quite unfortunate. But also, his decision-making has always been, I think, his weak point, and that was still true in the last series as well. Whereas ByuN has excellent control and pretty excellent reads on TVZ. So, he is going for that standard build, by the way, that we almost always see from him. He really, I don't think, he doesn't bother really changing things up. He can, of course, and he does occasionally, but he can also go like 7 games doing this exact same build and still look okay.
I'm sorry, I got distracted for a moment because I saw that they were talking about Big Bang Theory in the chat.
Yeah, and I emote moded him, so don't make me do it again, Fear Dragon.
I'm so proud of you guys.
No.
Oh my god, I enjoy that show.
Get out. Get out.
You can't ban me from this stream, Zombie Crowd.
Can't I?
That's true. You're the one streaming today. Sometimes you can't ban me. Sometimes I'm the one streaming.
Can't I? Yeah. Ah, God. Wall's already up. This is actually a really nice thing for Zergs to do. So if you're not already doing this, do it in your own play. Send like 10 lings off to the side, especially if you know the exact build that's going on, and try and get in here. Because a lot of Terrans won't wall off this fast. That's why you see more and more Engineering Bay wall offs coming down. But the drop commences, and while Solar has 10 lings on the other side of the field, he has all these queens that are usually very helpful. They don't have a lot of transfuses. He takes out an Overlord and just plays it kind of safe. Maybe he could have sniped a queen and tried to boost away, but that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I will definitely say one of the nice things that he kind of had going for him was that he was able to at least like deny one or two of the creep tumors from going down while the queens were all over there, and also even forcing out transfuses that reduces the amount of energy that these queens have for additional creep spread.
Yeah.
So we saw how important that creep spread was in the previous game, not just for vision, but just because he keeps going for this ling bling queen style, and he really is relying on creep spread, especially for those queens to make sure they can get into position.
Solar did some scouting with that ling attack, by the way, too. Seeing double Engineering Bay kind of tells you they're going to go for a third CC, although sometimes it's a little bit tricky, but it's like 90% of the time it's going to be a third CC behind that, especially if you can actually see them upgrading. So the pressure won't be quite as much as it could be, but that is still a lot of Marines that I think Solar might have underestimated. Remember, he just played Natural, where this exact same set of units just was like, it made it easy mode, just pushed Natural away. Now he is potentially dying and losing the game. I think he might have just lost.
I think his Baneliness ended up being like much later than he really needed it. Chi.
Yeah, but
Baneliness finishing up, like it finished up around the time that he was GGing out. Yeah. And you can imagine, like, if you are gonna face off against that many Marines, having even like 3-4 Banelings would have been incredibly helpful.
Well, true. Again, like, he got away with so much versus Natural. He probably thought he could do it again. He was safe, and with that many queens, you usually think you are, but there was just... ByuN's macro, I think, was a little more powerful. And he kept the units alive, too. Like, again, he could have sniped the queen, but then maybe lost a medevac. That actually adds up for that second push. But also, if you do have Banelings, we've seen ByuN focus fire the Banelings. So, that might not even have saved him. But it usually is the first step to defense. Having a couple Banelings in there. So it's such a stark contrast right there, but it's like, I don't want to bring this up to like so Natural like watches and he's like, damn it, they keep on making fun of me. But it's not just Natural, it's a lot of other Terrans.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to hop into the next game and find out whether or not Solar can, I guess, adapt a bit to ByuN's playstyle and his more aggressive play, or if this is just going to be a fast 2-0 from ByuN.
Highlighting again that wasn't even, you know, a 2-base all-in from ByuN, so... it's extreme. It's those extreme, like, yeah, there's like, you reach a certain point, you just make the matchup look imbalanced because it's you. You know, ByuN did that back when Ultras were like the problem for everyone, you know, like 5 months ago. Solar looked overpowered because of Ultras, like, type of deal. ByuN was the only one that could defeat them. And he's doing it again here, where he just, every online tournament he comes into, it's like, oh, right, Terran can be pretty good. Ah, God. New Gettysburg is the map choice. They love making the Pro League and the Korean tournament maps. And I'm just like, okay, I guess. Blizzard maps are not broken either, but that's fine.
Dasan Station is fantastic. People are just haters.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thanks to Weird and Perverted for the 2-month resub. Meskeltor. I don't know what that means.
Skeletor.
It's Skeletor.
You know, from He-Man?
He-Man! He didn't spell it like that.
Masters of the Universe!
He didn't spell it like that.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
And we're done. In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, he is Solar, not ByuN. I was gonna say.
And in the bottom right, we have the red Terran player. It's ByuN. Gonna send up 1 and 0.
Yep, looking pretty good.
Feeling good.
Yeah. Not sure the reasoning for Solar's choice of New Gettysburg. It might just be that he is comfortable on this map. It might be that he can predict where ByuN's going to be attacking a little bit better, but that wasn't his problem last game. So I don't know. I think it is just like, it's a bigger map and you're gonna have that time just like Apotheosis, but maybe you know ByuN a little bit better. You can prepare a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess I don't really. And, this is again one of those points where I sort of admit and say, like, I'm not a GSL Code S level player, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you were all aware of that, but I do sort of want to see like that continued attempt from Solar to go for that Queen style, because I think it's a really cool and interesting approach on how to go about taking on a Terran player. And like, if you skip out on those Mutalisks, you have a lot more gas for one, more Banelings if you need them, but two, you can go for the faster tech up into Infestation Pit and everything, which is one of the things that I think a lot of Zerg players will struggle with in Korea, where it's like, if you go for the Mutaling Bling style, you're using up so much gas that trying to invest into Infestation Pit or like getting up your upgrades quite as quickly as Solar does, it's not really a safe thing to do. Mm-hmm. So like, I like the style. I just feel like there maybe needs to be a couple of adjustments in getting an earlier Baneling nest, or maybe you just, I don't know, you trying to make sure your engagements are more on creep or something that Solar is probably much smarter than me and will be able to figure out.
Yeah. The one person who's really given ByuN a lot of trouble, when I think ByuN's on his A game, that is, because sometimes ByuN has like a mental issue. Ooh, he loses Reaper. Was Snoot. Like, I think they were on par with each other. They both had some pretty, it was like an okay time for both of them. It was EU server, but anyway. Snoot gave ByuN a lot of trouble. Like, he didn't just win with his first push, and you know, he didn't just like coast in a TVZ. And a lot of that was with a similar unit composition to what Solar is getting now. And we seem to see Zergs in Korea kind of trying that more European style. It just, it isn't perfected like Snoot had, you know? I think your point about Banelings is, you know, valid, but I think more so the point about being on creep more, being more defensive instead of figuring you can take on that army is something Solar needed to do last game as well. And allowing his queens to really just poke from afar type deal. But he is also trying to make Mutaling, sorry, I start with Muta, right? But
I know.
It's Ling Baneling work instead of Roach Ravager, and it's just like, that might be able to work, but that's not exactly what Snoot was doing. I know Solar was recently interviewed too, because someone made like a sensationalist Reddit post, right? How Solar kind of admitted that the foreigners always come up with these styles, and it's the Koreans that usually like perfect them and mold them to their own. And I think that's been true throughout all the expansions. Foreigners will come up with the builds first, they'll figure out the best compositions, then Koreans just perfect them. But it's taken I feel the Koreans Zergs a really long time to admit that maybe the Europeans had a good idea with this mass queen thing.
It's so interesting, because I know Solar, you have to remember whenever you get into one of these situations that it's very easy to completely generalize things. Like, for example, we hear Solar's perspective or something, or we hear, oh, you know, there's some like foreigners that are like, oh yeah, we're much better at like ZvT or something. But then you also hear like one foreigner who's like, no, I think the Koreans are right. And it's really, really important that we just keep in mind that everyone are individuals. I know this sounds like such a super lame thing and be like, oh guys, let's make sure that we don't just like racially profile everyone's opinions or anything. But like, I really do think that's important, because I know like Scarlet is one of these foreigners that it's really, really a big advocate and says like, no, I think that the Korean Zerg style is much smarter, because players like Nurcho and everything, they are really, really aggressive with their upgrades, going for like melee upgrades but making roaches, and they're gonna get punished for it if they play versus a Korean Terran.
Yeah, totally, and that's why she's like 30-0 versus. Oh, wait a second.
Hey, look, as someone who's a commentator and talks about the game, I don't need to tell you about the whole idea of not necessarily being able to play always at the level of understanding that you feel like you have the game.
That's true. Anyways, shots fired aside. So, ByuN tried something really bold to be watching the camera.
Sasha's at NSL right now.
Right? Like, she's not paying attention. She's not watching. TTR is very bold. Like a direct drop into the main base, especially in such obvious positioning, right? Like your medics are gonna usually go to like one place on this map. Was quite, I don't know, presumptuous almost to be honest. And Solar was prepared for it, but ByuN most importantly got most of his units out, and that is what's important. He didn't lose this medevac full of units, and he has the second push. This second push is what killed Solar.
But I think the second push is coming in later than it did in the last game. Because in the last game, I think the push was coming out maybe like a minute or so earlier. I'm not sure if that's because of the drop or what, but that means that in this game, Solar's going to have the banelings. The banelings have already started. And he has decent enough creep spread. There's going to have to be a couple of scans being thrown down, but the scan doesn't even necessarily catch every single active creep tumor. I really do like Solar's position a lot better in this game.
Yeah, I think the banelings are going to be very helpful. And you can see that, I think if you're facing anyone else, you make only like, what, 5 or 6 banelings? And you're like, I'm pretty good with that. He makes 10. He's very aware that ByuN can focus fire in a game beyond this. I think 5 would have been fine, comboed with the queens and the amount of lings, but he is playing pretty safe.
He's already starting up, okay, maybe he probably wants to start up his +2 melee attacks upgrade, so I won't say that there's no other use for the gas, but if you're not going for the Mutalist, like, the banelings are pretty much where all of your gas is supposed to go, so I think it's okay to overmake a few banelings. They're going to be useful for later on anyways.
Yeah, I agree. So now that he's defended against the second push... Oh, maybe no, speaking too soon. Oh, hit it. Okay, he's good.
Now that he's defending against the second push, still.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's defending, but ByuN's not leaving. He's...
Oh. Nice wraparound. There it is.
Yeah, and the snipe in the middle.
He's not going to be able to get the kills, but, I mean, just getting the wraparound suddenly means you have to do the lift up. Otherwise, you're just going to end up losing all of your Marines.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool that ByuN is just being so persistent with this push-in. Infestation Pit goes down behind this. Will he be able to get it up and safely?
That is the question. Since ByuN didn't just leave with that push, he has been taking down a couple of banelings, a queen, a good chunk of zerglings, and he's still not really leaving with it whilst attacking with a second push down here. His upgrades are close, but not quite on par. Point is, it's not like he's pushed away and he's just letting Solar do whatever he wants.
Ooh.
He's still pressuring a lot, and Solar might have trouble getting up to a hive.
Yeah, those Marines just literally walk their way straight into the natural expansion. Zergons are finally coming and streaming on in, but there goes down one of the evolution chambers.
That's pretty important. Is the
That was +2 melee. That was
yeah, it was the
melee,
weapons, not the carapace.
It's not as bad, but it definitely does suck. That was almost like 80% completed.
Oh, he took away a couple of too many units. Banelings do come back though, so the mineral line's not gonna be as abusive as it looked, and he cleans up the natural. Okay, that was almost scary.
Well, Hive Tech is starting. You know, despite all the damage that it looks like ByuN is able to do, he's getting really good cost-efficient trades. He's only killed off one worker. Killing off the evolution here, we're obviously going to be doing a lot, and also forcing these units like to run around everywhere. But Lings and Banelings, they're kind of the cheaper units for the Zerg army, and with Hive Tech coming up, decent upgrades, carapace upgrades at least there's going to be like Ultralisk Cavern finished up, or in about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of worried for ByuN now.
I'm not yet. We've seen him have to be taken to the late game versus other Zergs on Solar's level. And he just... It's his transition to that late game that is especially interesting. Whereas other Terrans are almost clunky, is like the best word I can think of when they do it. ByuN has had some very clean late game reactions. Like, 4th base is put down without the sacrifice of production. His upgrades are usually on par. At least I cancel this one. And his Liberator count usually grows pretty steadily because he doesn't lose that many medevacs over the course of time. So it's really like the best description is it's smooth to the late game. But we will see. Ultras always can be a problem.
Definitely not going to be losing any medevacs anytime soon, though, just because there really is no anti-hero. That's the one thing that we didn't really get to see with Solar, even in his games versus Natural, is that we never got to the point where he had the Ultralisk out in large numbers, but also needed in a response to the medevacs. Whereas I feel like that might actually be important in this game. Oh, nice failing connections there.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, he's getting denied on every single turn. Solar's looking pretty good.
Yeah, no kidding. And his +2 melee is going to be finishing up pretty soon. He has +3 armor available to start up. Ooh.
That wasn't that bad. It could have been worse.
ByuN is really having some trouble, and the Ultras are already going to be coming out. Kindness Plate is going to be finished up in about a minute, so this is a really, really important time for ByuN. I know that you were saying like he has a nice transition in the late game, but I don't know if he's there just yet, especially since all of this damage he's trying to make happen not really working just yet.
Finally, Focus Fire is the medevac for that one drop. That drop almost killed all of his queens. That was pretty useful, because those are transfuses. That's creep spread. Medevac goes down here again, too. Ultralisk will be able to chomp, chomp, chomp. He's good on that department. There isn't that many Marauders quite yet, so he can't, like, his Focus Fire will be probably very good, but not the same, like, okay, I'm going to destroy an Ultralisk when I really shouldn't be. But it's getting there. He's building, I think, 2, sometimes 3 Marauders at a time, and there's the other starport for Liberators. Oh, you pick up!
Yeah. He does have 3-3 also started up a good bit before Solar has actually started up 3-3, so Kindness Plating is going to be nice.
Oh, plating isn't done! Oh my god, he loses 2 Ultras for it. Might lose a 3rd? No, it's done.
Oh god, that Widowmine shot also. I mean, there's an Ultras over here, and he's got some Banelings also coming in from the side, so he should be able to push this back, but definitely taking a lot of losses in exchange for it.
How does that Spore Crawler not reach that? Okay, you're a dumb Spore Crawler. Oh, I might slow down! Nope.
That Spore Crawler is playing the mutation. It has shortened vision.
Yeah, oh my god, that was so terrible. These drops, they're looking kind of fancy, but they're actually not getting a lot of direct damage done. This one could have maybe gotten the base had he focus fired. Fortunately didn't. This one loses a lot of the medevacs, and he is starting to transition to Liberator production, or would like to, but can't if his medevacs are dying. I think he still can, though. He's actually still on 8s. They're just, like, littered everywhere. A couple here, a couple up here. Widowmine's just walking in. Toast cash.
Savage Widowmines just catch you off guard. But 3-3 is going to be finishing up now, and this is where things do get a bit better for ByuN in terms of the engagements and be able to take on those Ultras head on, especially with all the Marauders that you were talking about that he's been making consistently. He's up to 13 Marauders now, maybe losing 1 or 2 over here in the drops, but still.
I love how much trouble he's having with these drops. He did get a Spire, I want to note, so he can get Corruptors, not Mutas, but Corruptors for the Liberators. But also for the medevacs, these damn medevacs.
Seriously, the fact that he has not been able to touch the medevacs at all means that there's completely free Liberator production also, and that could be a bit of a problem. Just normally, like, if you take out some of the medevacs, and Terran players feel less comfortable, they have to be a bit more cautious about the stims, but now you can pretty much just stim to death because you're going to be able to continuously kite against the Ultralisks.
Will this Planetary survive? His army needs to get over there, but they're protected by the other 4 Ultras, so it's not. Those were Juno Glandlings as well helping out, so it goes down. He's still trying to micro on the other side of the map. I think he sent Liberators to go harass, but one of them already has died. This one's not really not doing a whole lot. This drop is going to get killed. And while he pushed the army back, losing a 4th does hurt, because he hasn't started adding on those, like, you know, not miscellaneous, so the extra command centers, so he can just replace them. But he does catch a couple of queens.
Oh, full energy
nice.
queens.
Yeah, yeah.
Spore Color. The Corruptors are all out now, so the Corruptors can finally start getting into the mix, taking out those Liberators, but also, as you were saying before, the medevacs is going to be really important. But Rock's being knocked down. There's still a lot of Ultras around, and Solar does have a pretty booming economy in comparison to ByuN, who's, again, doesn't have a 4th anymore. He lost it.
Yeah. Solar has to be careful how he takes the engagement. If he runs in with the Ultralisk, they might still go down to the Liberators, even as his Corruptors kill them, but the Corruptors don't, like, one-shot them yet, you know? So this actually is not looking so hot. More Liberators coming in, and mass Marauders are able to focus fire down the Ultralisk, and there's not enough Lings anymore. In fact, there's, like, barely any Lings anymore to soak up any of these shots.
Oh. Hatchery's gonna go down, and Solar loses a very important mining base right now. He's still got a couple of Ultralisks around. I think the difficulty is that he wants to use those Corruptors to take out the Liberators, but he needs to make sure that he has something on the ground tanking against the Marines' fire, because otherwise the Corruptors just get absolutely shredded.
Yeah, I mean, usually that is Lings, but the Lings are even getting shredded here. They don't have +3 carapace, they're not fully upgraded. Finally, the Banelings are actually connecting, however, and that leaves the Liberators alone. But the focus fire, the control on the bio, it's still a very big bio army, and all the Lings are gone again.
Yeah, but I still feel like Solar's going to be able to get up at least a couple more Zorglings pretty soon. He's getting up some more Ultralisks. if he can somehow make this work, I think that with all the Liberators gone, he can still take a decent engagement over here. But ByuN, I think, also knows it. He's backing up, waiting for some of those reinforcements, but he has his fourth expansion retaken, and he's denied the 5th expansion of Solar, which is a really big deal.
Yeah, it is even bases now. It's always going to be scary, you know, like for both players here. If the Liberator count grows again, suddenly Solar's in trouble. But if Solar can get those Banelings morphed in and a lot of Lings support his Ultralisk and maybe even Queens, because he's lost so many, then suddenly that army looks pretty damn good again, too. ByuN has that army supply, and that alone, I think, is what's going to win, just numbers here.
Yeah, I mean, numbers is a good way of putting it. It's not just the army supply, it's the upgrades. It's,
yeah,
I guess, the number of Liberators he can make, the economy he has, like, all of these numbers are just going to come back to bite Solar in the butt, no matter how good his engagement is.
Yeah, love that ByuN is rallying over here. Catch checks aren't going to work out. Scans ahead and is still going to take the engagement, just sieges up whatever Liberators he can, and there, oh, the Ultras run in first. They get demolished. Oh my god.
GG! ByuN takes the 2-0, even though that second game is a lot more hard fought than the first one.
That's true, but still, like, even though it was like, what, it was 17 minutes and ByuN did, you know, he lost units, you know, it wasn't like a perfect game. It was one that he never really was sweating, I think. You know, it wasn't like Solar ever got to the other side of the map, or... And he killed the Planetary, I guess, once. And that was kind of important, but... Still never, like, in his production line or anything. Oh, it goes along with that smoother game that seems to be associated with ByuN.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we're already into the next series. Let's take a break before we get in here. So 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with the next semifinal.